Hello, grade 8. This is Mrs. Lopez, and today we are working on lesson 4 in our module 4 on solving linear equations. Um, Linear equations you've been working with for a long time in grade 7. And before we start solving linear equations for grade 8, where we have variables on both sides and um, more complicated things, I would like you to go back into grade 7 and review how to solve two-step equations. It is that important because in grade 8 it becomes more complicated, so you need to know exactly how to solve those equations. Just to remind you, here is one example on solving two-step equation. You have 4 plus 15x equals 49, and you want to find x. Our goal is to isolate your variable to have that x on its own. The easiest way to do it is to add negative 4 to both sides of your equation. So that is, you're going to add negative 4 to both sides. Notice I'm not adding negative 15 or multiplying by the reciprocal just yet, because if I do, I would have to do it with the 4, and that is not what we want to do. So easier way is to go with addition and subtraction first, and then do multiplication and division, which is the reverse of our order of operations. So for a negative 4 plus 4 is a 0, you have 15x left, 15x. And on this side, you have 49 plus negative 4, which is 45. Okay, our next step, this is a one-step equation and one step left. We know that 15 is multiplied by x, so we need to multiply 15 by something that will give us 1x on its own. And that is a number that is a reciprocal of 15, 1/15. So I'm going to just rewrite that 15x equals 45, and I'm going to multiply both sides by 1/15. And you can put 1 on the as a denominator of 45 because the value of it does not change. So now, and same you can do for 15. Now you can see that you can simplify 15 and 15, and you will have 1x left, and that 1x will equal to 45, and 15 can be simplified as well. 45 will become 3, 15 will become 1. You will get x equals 3. That is how you solve to a regular two-step equation. Now let's look at example 1 in our grade 8 lesson 4. We have an equation that is 2x plus negative 3 equals 4x. Notice I right away changed minus 3 plus negative 3 because it's just easier to move numbers around and simplifying when you have plus in between. You know how many terms you have and what you can do with those terms. Okay, so now you notice that you have x's on both sides of your equation. Our goal is to isolate those variables and make it and make the variable on the same side so you can simplify and find x that way. So the easiest way to do is to move that 2x on this side. It will give you less steps. So here you will have negative 3 left, and here you will have your x's. So what we want to do is we want to add negative 2x because that's how we will get rid of it. We would add the opposite, right? We would add negative 2x to both sides of our equation. Just like we did in 7th grade, we would that's how we move things around on the different sides of our equations. So negative 2x plus 2x will give you a 0 on the left side and negative 3 left. So you'll have negative 3 on the left side left, and 4x plus negative 2x you can simplify because you know how. 4x's and negative 2x's will give you 2x. Okay, now you have a regular one-step equation just like here. What we want to do is to get rid of the 2 that is on the same side as x, and be left with only one x. Right now you have 2 multiplied by x, so what you want to do is to multiply 2 by the reciprocal of 2, which is 1 half, because right now it's 2 over 1, right? You flip it and you get the reciprocal, which is 1 half. You do the same thing to the other side of your equation, multiplying by 1 half. So on the right side, 2 and 2 can get simplified, and you will be left with only 1x, and that's what we want. On the left side, you will have negative 3 over 1 multiplied by 1 half will be negative 3 halves. Negative 3 halves can also be written as negative 1 and 1 half equals x. It doesn't matter in this case, it can be any of these two numbers, negative 3 halves or negative 1 and 1 half. I will accept either. But just know that here you can move variables around from one side of the equation to the other side of the equation in the same way as you would do with our regular constant numbers. Okay, let's look at number 2. Number 2 is pretty simple in terms of having a variable only on one side. You have 3/5 x plus negative 21 equals 15. Notice right away I'm changing, when I'm rewriting the problem, I'm changing subtraction into addition of the inverse. So now what I want to do is to get rid of negative 21 by adding 21 to both sides of my equation. So just rewrite that. Just negative 21, positive 21, and positive 21. Because this one is negative, I need to add the positive number, right? This way I can get rid of these two. It's going to be a 0, and I will have 3/5 left. X equals 15 plus 21 is 36. So now what we want to do is to get rid of 3/5 to have x on its own. And the way to do this is to multiply by the reciprocal of 3/5 is 5/3. So just rewrite that problem again to make sure you see all the steps that I'm doing. 5/3 and multiplied by 5/3, 36 over 1. 5 and 5 can get simplified on the left side, 3 and 3 can get simplified, and you will have only one x left. On the right side, you can simplify 36 and 3, and you'll have 12 here. 12 times 5 is 60. So x equals 60. Number 3, here it looks complicated, but it's not as complicated as it seems. Notice you can always simplify before you work with them. Just rewrite the problem first. 1/5 x plus 13 plus x equals 1 minus 9x plus 22. Find the like terms that you can add together and then move them around. 1/5 x plus 1x is going to be 1 and 1/5 x. 1 and 1/5 x plus 13, that stays. And here I have two constants, 1 and 22. Change that minus into plus negative. 1 and 22 will give you 23 plus negative 9x. Okay, so now it's simple enough for you to move things around. In this case, if you want to have x's on the right side, it's up to you. You can have it on the left side. It's up to you. It doesn't really matter where you're going to move it. It's the way you want to see it matters. I would like my x's to be positive, so I'm going to add 9x to both sides to be able to add 9x to 1 and 1/5 x. So I'm going to rewrite that before I do that. Okay, and add 9x to both sides. Here negative 9x and 9x will get simplified. They will cancel each other out, making it a 0. You will have 23 left on the right side. On the left side, you will have 9x plus 1 and 1/5 x will give you 10 and 1/5 x, 10 and 1/5 x plus 13. Now you got that two-step equation that you already know how to solve. First thing you want to do is to get rid of the 13 by adding negative 13 to both sides of our equation. Just rewrite that. Okay. Negative 13 adding to both sides. Okay. So now you have 10 and 1/5 x left on the left side. And on the right side, you will only have 10 left. Okay. So now we need to get rid of 10 and 1/5 x. And doing that, we need to multiply 10 and 1/5 x by its reciprocal. To find the reciprocal of 10 and 1/5, we need to make sure that we have this mixed number as an improper fraction. Otherwise, it's not going to be correct. 5 times 10 plus 1 is 51/5. 51/5 x equals 10. And its reciprocal is going to be 5 over 51. 5 51s. And we are multiplying it by 51/5 and by 10. Okay, so on the left side you will have only 1x left, and on the right side you will have 50 over 51. That is going to be the solution to this equation. Looks complicated, but if you follow step by step, you should be able to solve it with no problem. Okay, so these are the examples. Right now it's time to do some exercises. Go ahead and try it on your own, and then we'll come back together to review my answers and yours. Please pause the video and go ahead and get started. All right, so let's check the work that you and I did. So what I did, I rewrote the initial problem, and then I simplified it. I counted how many x's I have, which is 4x, and then I added the constants, 12, and then I solved it as I would solve a regular two-step equation. I added negative 12 to both sides, and then multiplied by the reciprocal, and got negative 10. To check whether my solution is correct, I put negative 10 into my initial expression, simplified one, and found out that after simplifying negative 28 does equal negative 28. So that x negative equals negative 10 is the solution to my equation. In number 2, I use the distributive property to multiply 2 by 3x and 2 by 2, got 6x plus 4. And then I added 2x plus x equals 3x to simplify my equation. What I did next is I decided to move that 3x to the left side. So I added negative 3x to both sides, and it became 3x plus 4 equals negative 1. After that, I treated it like I would normally treat my two-step equation. I added negative 4 to both sides and then multiplied by the reciprocal of 3. I got negative 5/3, or if you changed it into a mixed number, is negative 1 and 2/3. Same way with checking the solution. The only thing I ran out of space here, so I just needed to make sure that I write it here correctly. So this is the checking of the solution, and that is correct. Okay, so just so you see here. Number 3. Number 3, I got 45 halves, and this one was the trickiest one for me because, and probably for you too, because you had to work with fractions all the way. Pretty simple here. I moved I moved x to the right side to be able to have negative 9 on its own. So I got negative 2/5 x and negative 9, and then multiplied by the reciprocal of negative 2/5, which is negative 5/2, resulting in positive 45/2. After checking the solution, that is the correct answer. Number 4, um, I rewrote the problem down first, knowing that minus 3x is plus negative 3x, and then I moved it to the right side. I added 3x to both sides and simplified by adding 5x and 3x, it became 8x. And from there, again, a regular two-step equation, add negative 5 to both sides and multiply by the reciprocal of 8 to have x on its own. X should equal 3, and after checking, um, by substituting 3 into x in my original equation, I got the proof that I did it correctly. And then the last one, number 5. So here you have 1/3 x plus negative 5 plus 171 equals x. So what I did, I moved 1/3 x by adding negative 1/3 x to both sides. And so when I subtract x and 1/3 x, I got 2/3 x. And then I simplified negative 5 plus 171 equals 166. From there, I multiplied 2/3 x by the reciprocal of the coefficient, so 3/2. And then I did it on the left side as well and got 249 equals x. That 249 I substituted into the original equation right here, and it became correct. Okay, so that is lesson 4. That is how you solve multiple step linear equation. Um, Please message if you have any questions, do your homework, and I will talk to you in the next class.